We are live. This is the alt season market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Social disorder, insane government spending, FOMO in TradFi and the tech bro world about AI leads to rising valuations, a decentralized realization, and an idea that expanding valuations of just about everything in tech lead to a monster Ethereum rally, a monster Solana rally, and we haven't heard from XRP yet, and we will. Everyone's focused on the TV on the wrong thing. Yes, the situation in Los Angeles has escalated. The situation nationwide could escalate. Dalio is right. This type of thing could be indicative of the debt cycle. But how do you trade it? You trade it versus Bitcoin. You trade it by devaluing the dollar versus crypto, as you've heard. And in some ways, I know this is going to sound crazy, but perhaps Bitcoin is overhyped and altcoins are underhyped. Also, an observation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time I think I've seen really good 2 solid up days in alts in a row, right? Without it just being completely owned by Bitcoin. It's also the full moon, which can exacerbate human behavior out of Los Angeles and other places. So this social disorder news flow may not be going anywhere anytime soon. And of course, the people on the ground are doing their thing. And then the orange man is escalating on the heels of that. Meanwhile, there's a lot of stuff going on in international finance. So they ignored the change in valuation in crypto stocks. The Metaverse and AI FOMO is getting some attention, but the Japanese government bond market is back and a print-a-thon is about to begin. So think about it in ETH. Gold, silver, platinum, mooning. Bank of Japan coming in hard with printing. Hard. Matter of fact, this environment's perfect for them because they can do it when they're not the number one news story. Right? They're coming in big. Big. Central banks cannot have their government bond markets melt down. I know that's the fantasy of everyone in legacy that, oh my God, the bond markets are going to melt down and there's going to be a huge reckoning. And that could still happen. But the amount of money that has to get printed is beyond even the imagination of crypto heads who are like, they're tracking M2 and Bitcoin and stuff like that. Yeah, M2 is nice. But then there's this high-powered money that they can put in the system. We haven't seen it yet. And we're going to see it because you can't have social disorder, a Fed that won't lower rates. Small banks are in trouble. Big banks are good, but small banks are in trouble. They have credit card problems, auto loan problems, and they have commercial real estate problems. This just equals a tidal wave of money. And all these things combined, right? Like you have a market that's too cheap with a tidal wave of money means a very sudden repricing. Let's welcome who's here. Thomas Chai, what's up? Baby Whale is in the house. Philip, what's going on? Marcos. We'll look at virtuals. Don't let me forget. Ron, the King, here for 6 months. Yao Lopez from Portugal. Noah, Your Bass Hurts, a member. Yoppy, Patriot Caveman. Wrong again. Daniel J. from Jersey. Jared Carpenter, a member. Sir, welcome. Banging away with that Eagle King emoji. The big, beautiful Bill. Right. I am the big, beautiful Bill, according to Wrong Again. Folks, what I want to be big and beautiful is your P&L, which is why if you need a roadmap in crypto, you should subscribe to this channel. We are trying to get to 200 likes. Chris Martin, Felix, Tybor, what's up? Okay, if you're looking for new altcoin picks, you know, we had one winner last time, up 70%. Toby Ward, you know, hot in many ways. Is altcoin summer finally upon us? From earlier this morning, we got 2 lists of small altcoins shown on Banter Bubbles. We have changed our minds as to how to manage your portfolio. For more details, check the member area. And if you want amazing PDF style investment bank research with a very narrowed down focus on things like DeFi, AI, and a whole, like what I would call a consolidation of all of our prior altcoin picks, that is now in Patreon Platinum. So if you got YouTube Premium and Patreon Platinum, you're still paying less than you will other places. We need diversification on platforms. You will have all the research you need. I'll add to it. Get some research. Get what Toby thinks. Get Patreon Platinum. That's got a GAN model work in there. You know, get as many coins as you can. Get Moonpig if you have to. Get as many coins as you can with decent research. Again, not investment advice. You got to take your shot here. You have to, because the whole thing is too cheap and the printing press is on. The more social disorder you have, the harder they're going to print, right? In other words, if you have 2 weeks of nationwide destruction, even though that makes me wrong about the Instagram riots, it gives Powell an excuse to come in and do something. I don't think Powell can have the economy at a 2-week or 1-week standstill and not expect a shock on the consumer, right? Particularly in these big cities. All right, let's just start ripping into this. We got a lot to do. And when I get done, you're going to want to hit the green button. Okay, so, so a prominent left-wing political figure says everyone is actually stealing bread because they're hungry. Okay, that's possible. However, they are not selling bread at Apple stores. Okay, you have clear opportunism, and when you have social disorder, particularly over something strange like ICE raids that don't impact the broader public, you know, it's not a broad social issue, I would think, for most people. But guess what? When you got a lot of people who are upset in one area, especially if they're not from here and they're going home, you get social disorder. And when you get social disorder, you get a weaker currency. Okay, now to cite how absolutely unbelievable it is, federal government gets sued by the state of California trying to stop the federal government in the United States from using its constitutional powers to send in National Guard troops. One thing people are forgetting about this authority that Trump is using, you know, this was used in the 60s when there was, I don't know, I guess you could call it social divide, like one group shouldn't go to school with the other group. They had to send in troops to make sure that, you know, people could go to school. This is obviously materially more serious at this point as it spreads to other cities. You also have to ask yourself, how did it start and how convenient is it that it started around the big, beautiful bill? Amazing how that works. Amazing. Losing followers over that theory. This type of stuff will justify any amount of spending. And the worse it gets, the more spending it'll justify. That includes the plant company, which we will weigh in later with McAfee, where this privacy narrative, per what Toby Ward said, is not optional. Like this morning on the podcast, I went to say something. She's like, hold on, Bill. I got a few things to say about privacy. It's happening. It's not a fringe topic anymore. Neither is decentralization. Neither is crypto. And ironically, everyone is bearish everything but Bitcoin. Okay, Japan to sell 650 billion yen of debt today. So ironically, there's absolutely no bid in their bond market and they're selling more bonds. Who are they selling those bonds to? Themselves, right? They just absolutely have to print everything. There's no other way out there. It's like, it's going to be indiscriminate, and they've done it before. They've done it before. We did 85 billion a month back in the Janet Yellen, Ben Bernanke days, and so did they. 85 billion a month, dollars. Yeah, but they're 1/3 the size of us. You know what I'm saying? It's like by any means necessary. The price of bread doubles. That's obviously unfortunate for the consumer. Their bond market fails, and it's Mad Max. Arthur Hayes said Bank of Japan QE may fuel the next Bitcoin rally, or it could fuel a massive rally in anything connected to Ethereum, and that's already happening. Like the Aave chart is up only as the SEC is doing Go DeFi symposiums. And one long-held thing, long-held theory of the YouTube member area is coming true. It is coming true. She has been saying DeFi for over a year. Why? You're about to find out. Bessent seen as a contender to be the next Fed chairman. Okay, Powell's in trouble, right? They're going to undermine his authority. And I think he should just quit. I think he should quit. You know, there comes a point where, you know, it's like staying and fighting it is worse for the institution than leaving. And of course, he's not really interested in the institution. He's interested in himself and whoever's interest he serves, because that is clearly not yours. Okay, so Fed to keep rates on hold until September. Let's pretend they're not deep state operatives for a moment. You know, this thing about government spending, I don't blame them for not making any moves. If the government would slow down on spending, he could probably cut rates 100 basis points. Right? If you slowed government spending down, yeah, you would slow down the economy, but this would allow him to cut rates massively. That uncertainty is holding it up. Now, again, small banks in trouble. Sovereigns in trouble. Social disorder. A currency that should have no bid is up only for crypto. It's just up only. Like all the macro stuff and even all the micro stuff. You know, the Michael Saylor, the Ethereum ETF. There's a metaverse play out today. FOMO across the tech bro world. Indiscriminate FOMO. It's 1999 again back in tech. It's 1999 again back in tech. Okay. So, Web 2 paying $100 million for Skynet. Anyone who could build Skynet, come over here. We'll give you a $100 million package. 9-figure pay push. You know, that's like Wall Street CEO type stuff. And not even that. Okay. Completely new AI team. Big companies feel like they're behind. You know, AI guys moving. It's a bidding war. It's an absolute bidding war. Okay. Now, some people think, you know, low IQ people are being replaced. One thing to note that if this is actually true, could you imagine what these cities look like in 2 years, even in 1 year, 2 years for sure? And you know what that smells, right? Universal basic income, which they have to print for, or they have to buy Bitcoin and try to drop everybody a sat. Again, the government didn't want Bitcoin at 7. They didn't want it at 100. They didn't want it at 77, but at 250K, it'll be much more attractive because it's going to 1 million. This is the social disorder people should be worried about if it's true. I think a lot of these companies are spending so massively on AI that that's what's keeping a lid on jobs, assuming any of those jobs numbers are true. Full-time employment in this country has been on the decline. Again, rates, the currency, etc. Amazon, $20 billion. You know, we'll take a nuclear power plant. Thank you. $100 million to our computer programmers. Hello. Now, what does this mean for crypto? Well, we talked about it yesterday, and guess what? We're going to talk about it again today. You get, like, this AI crypto thing is all a part of an asset class. Michael Saylor has picked up on this. It's an asset class, all of it. And if you have one component of it that just suddenly gapped up overnight in terms of its valuations, well, you got to have a gap move. You got to have a gap move in other components of the trade, right? Okay. The news on Bessent becoming the new Fed chair is false. Want to know why? Because they're going to need QE from both the Treasury and the Fed. They're both going to need to print. So since Bessent is okay with printing, Bessent stays at the Treasury. Personally, I think they should leave Powell alone. Powell has made some horrendous mistakes, and he continues to make those mistakes. Let him make the mistakes. Let him make the mistakes. The future of money is here, and it's only just begun. The State of Crypto 2025. The future of money. I used to call it the future of money trade back in 2020, and it's here. And you can read the full PDF version if you want. Or you can watch this show, go to the YouTube member area, get some small cap picks, get some price targets in Patreon, and get busy. However, if you are new to this space, this is the first show you've watched. Paper money doesn't have many alternatives. There's nothing wrong with fiat itself. It's just that the fiat market, like going from one to the other, doesn't necessarily give you any differentiating factors, maybe outside of the Swiss franc. So it's not that I hate fiat, not at all. It's that crypto is the only currency other than metals that you can go to that doesn't have the properties of fiat. Can't print Bitcoin. And even though Ethereum is proof of stake, as a currency, it's not even close. Matter of fact, every day that goes by, like an Ethereum banana zone move becomes more and more likely. Okay, so Ray Dalio is just telling people that, you know, social and political orders break down, right? When you have a debt crisis, you have social disorder, and I believe we are at one of those inflection points today, okay? And, of course, Ray also has to now mention Bitcoin because he must watch the show, right? He mentions the problem. He gets a lot of attention, but he's not telling you how to trade it. Because if central banks are printing, you're not going to get the move in certain legacy assets that you would think you would get in this type of an era. Right? Legacy markets in some ways are frozen in their tracks. Now, if you want to talk about, like, say, what's really scary about society is how this whole geopolitical, national political, social disorder thing got started to begin with. Like, it's not who wrote the check for the protesters today, although that's a headline we didn't go through. How did it get here to begin with? So this is because we have Uncle George writing checks to change the social landscape of the country. Is this reversible? I don't know, but they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And, you know, you have interest inside Uncle Sugar's machine that has this kind of chaos, you know, being in favor of a new surveillance state, Patriot Act Part 2. These people are out there. And the point of this, even though it costs me to talk about it, this type of thing, in a very simple word, is not in your interest. Not in your interest. These people don't care about you. And that's good, because that means you have to care about you. Right? And that means crypto's too cheap, by the way. The theme of the day is crypto is too cheap. It's too cheap. And when it's too cheap, it gaps up. Just like, you know, AI scientists were too cheap, data centers, electricity, nuclear power plants, all this stuff is too cheap. Like Legacy is filled with articles. Oh, how to benefit from nuclear power. It's like, how can I build a giant machine and connect it straight up to a nuclear power plant? It's unbelievable. Like, think about it. If you need a nuclear power plant to run an operation, how big is the operation? And you got 5 guys doing this. They're going to build all this stuff. They're not going to do it in Web3. Now, we have an article that says they won't, which of course makes me think it will. Okay, so Cynthia Lummis is like, hey, we need a change in tax treatment. Every time you spend Bitcoin, you should be paying capital gains. It's that simple, right? That and many other things, like US-based cryptos should not be paying taxes. You should have massive employment growth in Web3. It's like 6 months overdue. I don't know why they forgot about this. You have huge FOMO in AI. Where's Web3? Well, it's coming. Because, you know, this thing where, oh yeah, let's all talk tough about what's going on in Los Angeles. Yeah, the longer that goes on, the more that stink is going to stick, right? Nobody remembers who started it, right? All they remember is who couldn't stop it. And they're going to need a change in talking points. Started with Elon, by the way. You know, Elon got the black eye, but I think the country got the black eye. Because when you start this kind of thing and you disrespect the president, even if Elon was right about the spending, they showed weakness, and then your enemies take over. Seriously. Your enemies take it. They don't take over. They take advantage, excuse me. $10 trillion BlackRock tells Bloomberg wealth advisors are fast-tracking allocations. Yes, because again, you know, at 110, it's much more attractive, but at 77, I didn't really need it. I was bearish on everything. It was a recession, remember. Bernstein says $200,000 Bitcoin is conservative. You know, I don't think 200,000 for Bitcoin is conservative. I think ignoring Ethereum, Solana, and XRP is conservative and a mistake. There is nothing on the tape today about Ethereum. There's some stuff about Ethereum. There's nothing about Solana. There is one headline about an RWA transaction on XRP Ledger. No talk, none about altcoins. The only talk there is about altcoins is like ChatGPT centric, like TA headlines on like CoinDesk or Cointelegraph. No one's going, buy this stuff. No one. Now, of course, that'll change after today because it's got an alt season type of flair to it. But then again, not, because stuff's only up like 3%. I'll take ETH up 3% every day for 2 weeks until people figure it out. And then forget, and then watch out, right? People are going to be like, you know, once it prints 3,000, all the people who missed it at 2,000 something, Christ, you had it at 1,000 something for a while. Anybody who misses on 2,000 something, once ETH crosses 3K, they're immediately going to start thinking about, oh my God, I better get this before it goes over 4K. Michael Saylor on Jordan Peterson. Always interested to see if Jordan Peterson actually looked at his psychology and how adamant he is and whether or not he's actually crazy. I would have been interested to see the psychoanalysis of Michael Saylor. Then again, the conviction is unbelievable. The guy believes it. He's doing it. Right? The lack of fear, like they make fun of it in Legacy, but the lack of fear should be inspiring you. Right? In other words, I have a much smaller audience than he does. Don't be afraid anymore. Don't. Right? The downside of losing money in crypto is small compared to the changing forces that are out there and not prospering from those forces. Like, is the world good or is the world bad? Is AI going to be, is it going to be, are we going to live a Star Trek future or a Terminator future? I don't know, but I do know that you need to profit as much as you can in the meantime. Michael Saylor debunks rumors about, he debunks shorting the main stock of his company, the common stock as it's called. And then he explains how using these instruments that are called preferred stock that give you basically give holders a 10% interest rates. So make no mistake, Mike's making a bet, right? Mike's making a bet that Bitcoin goes up enough that he's got enough to be able to continue to pay interest. And he just continues to issue these things. And Wall Street loves it. They love it. I was like, oh yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. They get huge fees for issuing this kind of stuff. He'll sell it and people are eating it up. And again, it's all about Bitcoin, right? I don't think so. I don't think it's just Bitcoin anymore. It's been Bitcoin only for a year. And of course, the headlines reflect it, right? It's everywhere, right? MicroStrategy shifts, right? Common stock loses its allure. So we got to issue other stuff, right? Every single MicroStrategy short will get liquidated. A bold call. I actually agree with it. However, International Business Machines behind on AI thinks it can have quantum by the end of the decade. Okay, so I don't know about this. I know Mike has his counter argument. I'm showing this because there is something to do other than Bitcoin. And if there is a quantum computer, the first target won't be Bitcoin. It'll be fiat payment networks, just so you know. FUD does not serve you. FUD has kept this market down in an artificial way. Toby in the YouTube member area has been talking about suppression, and, it's been hard to trade that until now. Until now, right? There will never be another crypto winter. This could be correct, and even if it's not correct, you've had a winter of sorts. You've definitely had a winter in AI agents. You've definitely had a winter in all of the AI trade in crypto, which should be waking up in force. Like, she was right about DeFi. She's going to be right about everything she talked about on the podcast today. Like the last two podcasts, they're worth a 1-year subscription. Guys are super chatting on the free stream because they're making so much money because she got everybody in on the ground floor. Coinbase Premium for Bitcoin, as people are just getting the Bitcoin off exchanges. It's just, you got to get the Bitcoin off exchanges because the Bitcoin that you think you own, you may not own it. It may just be this like digital blip. You don't actually have the Bitcoin. Spot Bitcoin ETF, 1 trillion in cumulative trading volume. Now, for all the talk about alt season, if Bitcoin is going to 200K, this is going to be how it happens. Because I know that sounds like a lot of volume, but global pension funds, you're talking about, you could be talking about $60 to $100 trillion. That's like basically all the money in the world, right? All the money in the world, 1% of all the money in the world has to find its way to Bitcoin or the Bitcoin ETF. You have much higher prices, and this says nothing about crypto stocks. Galaxy Digital went public, not a word about it. Circle tripled in value. Not much talk. Not much talk. The value of stablecoin companies is much higher. How long do you think it's going to take, say, Google? Like, who hasn't FOMO'd into AI and crypto yet? You have Amazon. You have social media. Who's next? Hardware. NVIDIA. Who's next? Right? Apple's got so much money. They're buying back the stock. It's not working. Michael Saylor said they should go buy Bitcoin. They should go buy Bitcoin. Franklin Templeton unveils intraday yield. Don't look now, folks, but real world assets is picking up. Toby talked about real world assets today, and I couldn't agree more. It's like you got all, it's like Christmas. It's like walking into the store with stuff that you were going to buy anyway, and it's all down 40%. It's 40% off. A lot of this stuff is way down compared to where it was in May. We were looking at charts today. Stuff is still down versus where it was last month. Okay, Ethereum advocate leads ecosystems new profile raising initiative. Is that marketing in Ethereum? Oh, thank God. Watch out. Watch out on the upside. Ethereum governance tokens. Uniswap, Aave. All of these governance tokens. If a bank is going to come in and do huge amounts of things in DeFi, what do they need? Control. How do they get control? The governance tokens. So governance tokens were a joke way back when. Now, the banks may want the governance tokens or any other real-world asset player. You can buy a piece of Aave with a governance token. I mean, that makes you want to go look at what? Sushi, Synthetix, ETH DeFi. Do you realize that 60% of Fortune 500 companies have blockchain products, have blockchain projects? That's a huge number. I mean, there was a lot of blockchain talk in 2017. Now they're actually doing it. And most likely, that's stable coins. You can accept stable coins for your product may instantly have an advantage. Not to mention, regarding the future of money, and I've been saying this for 4 years, so I might as well continue to say it, that someone is going to be accepting crypto for Christmas. People need the crypto bro vote for the midterms, and people are going to need the crypto bro vote for Christmas, for holidays. Crypto as money has to show up somewhere. And again, Solana isn't up today. I look at the screen, I go, why isn't ETH not at, ETH should be at 5,000 and Solana should be at 300. I don't understand why it's not there. I don't understand it. I can't give me a reason why Solana can't go to 300. Well, the meme coin thing is not happening. Okay. Well, the meme coin thing never really drove Solana past its old all-time high. But the stable coin and the DeFi trade and all these huge players coming, I mean, these huge players may want to do stuff on Solana, but before they do that, what are they going to do? They're just going to come in and put it in inventory. This is what they did with Bitcoin. They're just going to be like, okay, well, we know we're going to get involved. Let's just buy it now. It's too cheap. We'll buy it. We'll sit on it, and we'll do what we're going to do with it later. Not to mention these ETFs are going to happen. I didn't think the SEC was going to want to approve these other ETFs. Now with the rest of the administration, kind of like with an optics problem. They got an optics problem on spending. This thing in Los Angeles makes them look terrible. Even if they talk tough, it still looks terrible on television. It looks terrible worldwide. Looks like a banana republic. So what are they going to do? They got to get somebody excited. What's the only way to get anybody excited? Crypto. What's the only way for Elon to push back? Crypto. It's only one way to push back. It's all funneling right into this. And again, you get 2% and 3% rallies with XRP down. Crazy. Bitcoin traders think there's going to be a dip to 107. The only reason there'd be a dip to 107 is because people are dumping Bitcoin to buy Ethereum, which again is perfectly feasible. And again, over here, right? This was a $10 billion investment 2 days ago, right? It's just like, what's $1 billion between friends? I'm FOMOing in. Just mass. You have 1999 style FOMO going on in, trad tech or Web 2. Massive FOMO over there. No FOMO over here. It's like the reverse. The FOMO over there is going to wind up over here. Trust me, because we know how to do FOMO. Banks are now involved directly in stable coins. French bank has a stablecoin arm. Dollar stablecoin on Ethereum and Solana, with Bank of New York acting as the custodian. How long do you think this is going to be before it's monkey see, monkey do? Monkey see, monkey do in tech. Monkey see, monkey do in Wall Street. Solana, Ethereum, parabolic. Parabolic. Tight range for Bitcoin at 110. Possible. Possible. Because all this Bitcoin profits, it buys a lot of cheap altcoins. It's like very, very old school. Don't let the cult of price hold crypto back. Focusing solely on price hurts blockchains. Okay. That's true. I think what he's trying to say is invest in the tech part of crypto and don't not invest because it's not a meme coin. I think that's, his wording is obviously more nuanced and professional. If it's not going to 1000x in 5 minutes, we don't want to talk about it. And if people take that attitude, they're going to leave 20, 50, and 100x's on the table. Because the tech and money component of crypto could explode any second. Any second. Cannot have the kind of FOMO that you have in these other areas combined with dollar negative events and not have an explosion. Web3 is losing the AI race. Yes. Media negativity on Web3 and AI. Oh, so happy. So happy it's finally here. The media hates it. So, you know what? It's just up only. Do they have the talent? I don't know. You know what, dude? They'll have the talent if the tokens go up high enough. You have talent over here. We're in a big hurry. I'll be like, yeah, I'll go to work for you. You just give me tons of tokens. Trust me. Trust me. Growing stacks of Bitcoin long-term holders signal bullish outcome. As Bitcoin counts of long-term holders goes up, short-term holders have fallen. Look at this. Holy Christ. This is everyone getting out. Bitcoin sits in a range between 77 and 110, and everyone exits like it was some kind of winter. We had a psychological winter in crypto. People just gave up. They absolutely just packed it in. Absolutely gave up. And what happens when they all come back in? You understand they're coming back in with Bitcoin at the all-time high, ETH at half price versus what it should be. What happens when they all come back? That's why I think it's Christmas for anyone who's paying attention. Okay. Orange Man's Kids. It wants to be the biggest miner in the United States. It's amazing how no one really seems to get this about Bitcoin mining. Now, there is a Tether story out about how Tether could possibly disrupt large miners. That's something to look at. But at the end of the day, the idea of an organic source of Bitcoin, dude. Guggenheim Treasury Services to issue digital commercial paper on XRP Ledger. Funny how XRP Ledger it seems to be the home of things that bear interest rates. It would be funny if you had a yield curve or if you had different types of bond market instruments trading on XRP Ledger, Ripple, stablecoins, XRP, and a layer one. It's worth $25 billion at least. And if somebody really FOMOs into that, it could be a huge market trigger. Huge. We discussed that in the Patreon Platinum era. Is the metaverse back? Solana token for VR game explodes. Well, what do you know? First World token launched on Pump.fun skyrockets to $112 million valuation. I remember back in the day in Metaverse where they were like issuing coins at $1 billion. Everything started at $1 billion late 2021 Metaverse zone. You're going to wear Web 2, you know, you're going to wear those, or you're going to do something else. What are you going to do? So straight up down, but the simple fact of the matter is still at a $407 million market cap. That's pretty lofty. Okay, I get it. But you can see that the market is trying to do these trades, right? These are the green shoots. Is a Dogecoin pump incoming? They must watch the show. He doesn't really have to say or do anything except have the Tesla Treasury announce crypto purchases. Now, of course, I'm sure he'll be the one that makes the announcement. If you want to make a statement, you don't throw a tantrum. You just buy Bitcoin or Doge or whatever. Or start accepting a whole host of cryptos in exchange for a Tesla. You don't have to come in and buy Ethereum on your balance sheet. You can accept multiple forms of crypto. You can buy a Tesla in Swiss francs somewhere in the world. Why can't you buy one with Ethereum? Bulletproof Cybertrucks may prove handy with what's going on in the United States. If Tether went public, it would be the 19th largest company globally. That's bigger than Costco and Coca-Cola. I think they moved to El Salvador to get away from regulators, but the valuation of the stablecoin space is mind-boggling. And the fact that everyone, including Uncle Sugar, wants this industry, God, you have it's like QE, right? Stable coins mushroom. Where do all the stable coins go? Where are they going? They're going right into a crypto ecosystem. Yeah, eventually there'll be security tokens for them to chase, but not now. Not now. Where are all these stable coins going to go? Into Aave, into Bitcoin, right? Why can't ETH trade at 10,000, 8,000? Who's talking about that? Nobody. This is the total value of all big AI coins. $45 billion. So what do we have for Tether? Tether is worth $515 billion. AI in the crypto space is worth $45 billion in total. Now, of course, Tether is obviously a whole other beast, but no one wants to trade this stuff. And these alligator mouth, these expanding triangle formations, they can be some of the most bullish things that can be. Because, you know, you can have stuff like this, right? You travel the distance of the alligator mouth. Let's be conservative and use this. You travel the distance of the alligator mouth from the point of the breakout that you haven't even had yet. It's easily back to the 2024 highs. In other words, you know, every time someone asks Toby on the stream, she frequently gives the same answer as to what the tactical targets are for a lot of the coins that we're discussing. You know, the Ethereum ecosystem, right? So the coins in the ETH ecosystem are currently worth $764 billion, way off its all-time high, and a lot of these coins are being pumped. This is the key word, pump, by the SEC. The SEC wants everyone in DeFi. The Orange Man is in DeFi. The Orange Man's family is in DeFi, but we're not. We're not. That's crazy. It's at equilibrium on LuxAlgo. I mean, the Ethereum ecosystem is 25% away from its premium zone. The Solana ecosystem is an even bigger joke. It's only worth $254 billion. The premium zone is $100 billion higher. How's this not going up massively? Look at the value of real-world assets as a sector, RWA.C. Credit to the Eagle King for finding these new trading view indicators. Okay, massive LuxAlgo for strength buy signal today. Like ETH's buy signal was yesterday. LuxAlgo beeping left and right. Like, not only are you getting, you're getting the signals, but you're also getting follow through on the signals, right? So there's a signal. Sometimes you get a dip. Now, LuxAlgo's putting support underneath Ethereum. It's up 4.8%. And I don't know why it would stop. There's resistance at 28.50. And you know what? No, there isn't. Everyone's like, where's the resistance? Where's it going to stop so I can get in? Bro, they've given you the opportunity to get in for months. They killed this thing. They destroyed it. Right? I mean, ETH is back to where it was in February. It's like, oh, ETH's up a lot. No, it's not. Right? This thing was just left by the side of the road. There was no use case. Nobody was going to use it. There's this giant web of layer twos on this thing that could run all of finance. Coinbase hasn't adequately hyped the base network yet. Oh my God. And it goes on and on and on. Massive arrow breakout. Massive. Now, yeah, again, you have to start asking yourself, how high can stuff on the base network win? How high could it go? We were talking base coins this morning on the YouTube member podcast. By the way, there's a Q&A aspect to that. There's a Q&A aspect in the Patreon group, and there's, live Q&A. You got access to 2 analysts. I know Gar's charging a lot of money for that. Like, what do you think of my coin? Come on and visit us. Pay us a visit. More live TA. Bitcoin on a 4-hour chart. Do you see any sign of a top? None. Now, most likely an important moment in Ethereum. Okay. 9 top. The pause that refreshes, you had it come off 2,800 here, and then you had a dip to 27 something, and then it came screaming back. You realize you could have 13 more of these candles. 13 more 4-hour candles. That's like 3 days of up only. 3 days. Solana on a daily chart. You went 1 to 9 on the way down, and you could go 1 to 9 on the way up, and we're on 2. 9 days down, 9 days up. How high can Solana go? 177 minimum. I mean, folks, I'm not making this up, right? This is, the 4-hour chart, somewhat similar, right? You could get a stop at 170. You could get a 13 top. And then if it doesn't go down, or even if it does, it's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity. Fans may not want to look at the XRP chart. I want to look anyway. The last time everybody packed it in on XRP, it went up 400%. XRP takes out this shelf at 240. Again, the beautiful thing about the fact that you are listening to this show is that everyone else except you is sleeping on this market, which is why I'm trying to get you in to not only the show, not only hit the like button, but you get into Patreon. I mean, that area, the platinum area, you hit collections, platinum, loaded. And similar style research is available here, right? Like the altcoin picks. You want small caps? You know, Toby doesn't want to do anything that's over 900 market cap, right? It's like, get some research, make a YouTube face, and rock on. What do you know that the archives and personal blog of John McAfee has just been published in detail on the AIntivirus website? A clear and present danger. Everything the guy ever said, pretty much in blogosphere format, which I think can be accessed, the VIP area, I understand can be accessed by NFT holders. Yes, AIntivirus does have NFTs. This gave the coin a pop, and I am aggressively helping them with the podcast, where John McAfee, in his own words, tells you what he thinks of the big, beautiful bill, Elon, tech bros in general. Let's do it that way. And the next level of, let's call it the plant state. Let's do it that way. Probably going to get in trouble, already in trouble. The plant state. Cameras everywhere, facial recognition, right? Freedom is not found in the race, but in the rebellion. How tasty is it to make money and push back against the man at the same time? Who said crypto wasn't fun? You can do meme coins. You can do tech. You can do cyberpunk. You can do Michael Saylor. You can do Ethereum. You can do the future of Wall Street. What could be more fun? Solana, an under-discussed coin. 50% retracement. William Gann and Toby's favorite retracement. Sincerely starting to believe that this is what you got going on in Solana. And this thing where they dropped it to like 130 was just annoying enough to be cup and handle. I mean, I can't believe how far away Solana is from its premium zone. And I think what the guy from Ethereum was trying to tell you is that, dude, you do not have to be fixated on price alone. Solana is 82% away from its premium zone. Avalanche was probably one of the more painful fake outs. I was like, hey, the place where I live in New Jersey is on Avalanche. Boom. Dropped it in my face. Straight down. Boom. And Avalanche hasn't even had the quant reversal yet. So we're playing this new game. First it was, hey, something's at resistance, buy the resistance. That was Bitcoin. And to a certain degree, Ethereum. Now, you got to start asking yourself, You have quant buy signals in Solana. You have quant buy signals in Ethereum. You have quant buy signals in Bitcoin. Are the quant buy signals going to appear in other coins? And again, we're not the only people who can see this. The reason LuxAlgo matters is because it gives the small guy an algorithmic advantage, because all these hedge funds operate on algorithms. And, oh, by the way, you know, the thing that was perky before everything got perky was Bitcoin Cash. It was Bitcoin Cash and Aave. I mean, Bitcoin Cash, you know, everyone's talking about the future of money. You can do the whole cyberpunk and future of money thing in Bitcoin Cash. This stuff used to be a joke. It's not a joke anymore with what's going on in Los Angeles. Not to mention what they did to this guy, Roger Ver, right? They ran him out of the country to such a degree that he had to give up his passport. You know, and the optics on that were not good. But again, are we headed for a new plant state with cameras everywhere? We doing, you know, we handing security over to plant. These guys were all pushing back against that back in the day and were persecuted for it. If Ross is a hero, Roger Ver is a hero. If Ross is a hero, Charlie Shrem is a hero. If Ross is a hero, John McAfee is a hero. And even if that's not true, you can be your own hero, right? Like Wendy O has this thing, like, I'm going to advocate for the little guy. And that's great. That's perfect. Because my angle is the little guy can advocate for himself. That's why crypto and decentralization are a beautiful thing. Steve J, if you're out there, this one's for you. Defi Perp up 6% today. This is old school DeFi, led by the huge parabolic move in Aave. And you've got this wonderful breakout from this head and shoulders bottom, really twisted breakout and retest. Look at how they sold this thing. Look at this candle. Look at how they sold it. Bang, 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 bang. Get you out, get you out, get you out. I mean, this is like textbook. Like if you weren't looking at the chart, you would have run for the hills. But you are looking at the chart because I'm making you look at it. Aave. I think the only thing about Aave, is that its premium zone is at 408. But it's clearly breaking out of this alligator mouth thing, breaking out of the expanding triangle. You look at Aave on a weekly chart, and you're breaking out of Fibonacci circle formations. This is breaking out by breakouts, right? Governance tokens. It's a joke, right? Like seriously, go to the crypto bar tonight and go, you know what? Governance tokens, the way to go. No one will talk to you. A governance token rally in DeFi is how you catch this whole ecosystem sleeping, just like the meme guys caught everyone sleeping a year and a half ago, right? Solana took off. Nobody know how to trade on a Solana DEX. Synthetix at its discount zone at the bottom of a expanding triangle or accumulation cone. I mean, I think it hasn't been that long, right? Like there was up only on the election, right? And that was pure hype. Now you actually have a reason to do these things. With Franklin Templeton, you know, I go over all this news. It's like, you know, such and such bank says this, such and such bank is involved. This stuff was built for such and such a bank to come over to crypto. And Toby said something shocking about DeFi and Bitcoin, which I don't mind sharing with you because it'll lead you to FOMO into all of our research. How do you onboard old people into crypto? How do you onboard old people? Well, you have the banks offer DeFi crypto products. Now, I know that's not what you want. I know that decentralized finance still does have its cyberpunk angle, but the valuation, remember I keep coming back to this valuation thing. The valuation of the governance tokens is way too low. It's way too low because the banks are coming. The banks are here. Circle has IPO'd. This is happening now. And look, you know, you don't have to worry about buying it up here because you can buy it down here. You can buy it down here. Doge, which I forgot to do for somebody yesterday. Okay. Could you go over how to make profits so I don't round trip coins? Thank you for all that you do. Okay. So when it comes to when to sell, right? You know, Toby says do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. That's the first thing. So the old answer is when everyone's wearing a lampshade on their head and partying like in Bitcoin, you move somewhere else. That's the sector rotation game. Now, the other way to do it is fortunes are made by buying low and selling too early. Meaning, if you have a larger position, you can scale out as it goes up. Now, if you're a small guy, you don't have that luxury, folks, buy discount, sell premium. This is Doge, like the dog Doge. This thing was close to its discount zone off the Elon thing. So you buy discount, okay? And if you can't make up your own roadmap in crypto, here's how to make up a roadmap in crypto. I lost the drawing tool. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to buy discount. You're going to let it go up, retest equilibrium, then go to premium, then sell, then buy the dip back at equilibrium. Buy discount, sell premium. It's that simple. You know, or you do a Wendy O, which is buy discount, sell 3/4 of it at premium, and just leave it as a moon bag. Right? You can never get fired taking profits, but you also want to maintain core longs. Like in this market, in my opinion, you always want to be long something. Again, the heart of the YouTube member podcast is how do we run the portfolio, how to be in buckets, what sector to be in. Yo, people, you know what? And if all else fails, you can ask us. Members get special requests on the market update. You can come in, just 2 YouTube member podcasts a week. You know, it's not like it's such a mob yet that you can't ask your question. We're there for you, right? It's like we have an AMA twice a week, along with content and picks. Come see us, please. I can't control myself on these crypto stocks. Okay. Okay. Riot perhaps getting toppy. Tactically. Where's the topping signal in Coinbase? There isn't any. There's no topping signal. There's nothing in Coinbase except blue sky. You know, people may be looking for this gap to get filled. It took a long time for them to fill this gap. Can you believe this stock was at 350 off the election? It went all the way down to 150, and now everyone is trading it like it doesn't matter. That's going to change. And I think Mike is right about this whole micro strategy thing. You know, that thing is coming back above a key DeMark moving average. You have a D-wave signal in MicroStrategy indicating that this was the end of a correction and that you could have a new high in the stock. If they fill this gap, you are going to stop. You are going to blah, blah, blah. You are going to start stopping out shorts. Marathon Digital, a Bitcoin miner. Can you tell from looking at this chart that Bitcoin is at 110K? I can't. I can't at all. Matter of fact, this looks like a super juicy reversal. How long do you think it's going to take before Legacy goes, we have to allocate to this sector? They're underinvested. They don't know what to do over there. Rightly so, right? They can't, their equation doesn't work anymore. Like, okay, well, government spending and AI, is it overvalued? The tariffs, I don't know. You know, valuations too high. And they're going to look at this and be like, wow, this is easy. It's down and the whole market's rallying and no one gets it yet. It's a perfect rounding bottom. Okay, you get the idea. There's a new angle. We talked about it in the YouTube member area about how you want to run your portfolio. For anyone who was here last cycle, you want to do what was in last cycle. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the YouTube member area. If you think crypto is expensive, go to Patreon Platinum and check out some of the upside price targets and the longer term research that we've got over there. Like the AI trade has not been done yet. The prosperity trade, it has been done in some stocks and in Bitcoin, but it has not spread out throughout the entire market. It has not. And I believe there was a request at the beginning of the show for virtuals. And I think Triple V oh my God. You know, one of the things that's unbelievable is that inside this virtuals ecosystem, the guys that get this about this point system, again, look at the signals from LuxAlgo. You got a 4 signal in Venice token. And, you know, in May, on May 1, April 30th, this was trading at $5. Now you have this hesitant bid coming in as everyone watches what's on TV, and I'm not sharing the screen. Four signal. Bigger picture, if it went straight down, it can go straight back up again. You have like big straight down and little straight down. All crypto has done on the altcoin space is go straight down. Notice how they stopped everyone out down here. Notice how virtuals is still below equilibrium, and this is at least the perpetual contract. Render isn't really up today. It's up 1%. Most of the AI stocks are still dramatically lower versus they were where they were a month ago. Except, of course, for Big Rich's play, Tau, right? Still bumping up against just equilibrium. So here's an example of when perhaps not to take profits, okay? Not to take profits. When it gets to equilibrium, right? It's still balanced. I mean, it stopped, right? But remember, this goes back to not round tripping. Sometimes when it's at discount, looks terrible, you buy. When it's at premium, you go, all right, we'll let some of this go. But then the rest of the time, the money is made into waiting. The money is not made into buying and into selling. And I appreciate you. I'm glad you're happy with the free content, but this is the tip of the iceberg. This is the big picture. What to actually do, what coins to buy, like the research department. Thanks to AI and Toby, we are a research department, which is why I keep sending everybody over here. This is quick, concise, to the point. And again, you know, the reason to be here is here. The charts, some charts are here. The actionable, how do you change your life, is there. There. Right? And of course, in Patreon Platinum, where you can talk to me and get a whole bunch of killer research. I mean, folks, we have been waiting for this, right? Now, I know the Eagle King is going to pass out behind the scenes, so I got to wrap it up. Alt season is here. Ethereum season is here. AI valuations are exploding in other sectors. That has to leak over. The more dollar negative news you have, the higher crypto goes. Unfortunate events are truly unfortunate, right? And then whatever's going on there, whoever started it, whoever paid for it, whoever's not stopping it, you name it, it's not in your interest. You are going to act in your interest. We will see you tomorrow.